All right. So welcome everybody. This is really exciting to have everybody here, all different parts of the supply chain um, for the launch of our, I almost said 100,000, but that's next year. Our 10,000 pounds of cotton project. And I'm Amy Dufault, and I'm the communications and strategy director person for TS Designs. And along with TS Designs president, Eric Henry, and Courtney, who's here, and she's the Solid State brand manager. And we're excited to tell you more today about what we're going to be doing with the 10,000 pounds of cotton project, and why we see getting the farmer to the table as one of the most important parts of the conversation. And for many of, or a bunch of the reporters here that I'm friends with, I know that this is something we haven't had happen ever, or it's very infrequent that it happens. So I'm really excited to have Andrew here, as well as the different parts of the supply chain. A little housekeeping, we're just gonna kind of start off with some introductions. Eric's going to be doing some introductions to who's here from the supply chain. And then we have a couple questions that some press folks, friends sent in, and we'll ask the supply chain those questions. And then we'll have the chat box open. The chat box is open now, actually. So if you wanted to put questions in, then we can start getting those questions to the supply chain members. And we can also just have this as a really good conversation. Some of the back conversations that have been had already, I think, are really exciting and different and challenging. And some people don't know where to begin. And this is where we begin to just see how we can make this supply chains better in terms of regional. And then, starting with something as simple as a t-shirt. So I'd like to introduce Eric. And Eric is going to kind of give you a quick overview of how Solid State Clothing was born, how it came into the world, why. And then after that, we'll be asking our supply chain members just to give a kind of 3-minute little what you're doing as part of the supply chain. And I'm going to turn it over to you, Eric.
Okay, thank you, Amy. And again, my name's Eric Henry, and welcome to Rolling Hills Gin in New London, North Carolina, and the launch of our 10,000 pound project. A little bit about myself is I've been in this industry 40 years. And what happened is when COVID hit our business, like it hit this country, it was very similar to what NAFTA did in '94. It was devastating. But unlike COVID, it went way beyond the apparel industry. So what we want to do today, it started back in May of this year, is reconnect our relationship with the farmer. And I'll be introducing Andrew Burleson here in a second. Because what I realize has happened is the farmer that has the biggest investment, the most time, has zero say in the price in which they charge for their cotton. So what we want to do with 10,000 pounds is reconnect the farmer. The purpose of this is a call to action. A call to action for the apparel brands to meet the farmer in the field before the seed goes in the ground. Because we have a broken agriculture system. This is true for cotton, wheat, soy, beef, chicken. The farmers are the backbone of this country, one of the most important assets to our economy and society, have no say-so in the price in which they charge. I have the opportunity to know the Burleson. This is Andrew, I said I'll introduce in a second, but I met the Burlesons almost 15 years ago when we launched a brand called Cotton Carolinas. Because we learned back then, we grow great cotton in North Carolina. And what happened with NAFTA is a lot of that cotton started leaving this country. As I did on TED Talk a few years ago, 98% of the clothes we buy today are made overseas. So what we want to do is with this launch of 10,000 pounds is, again, it's an education to the consumer to know where the clothes come from, but again, also a call to action for the brands to let's connect with the farmer in the field. Because one thing we'll show, and I would say after we do this introduction of our supply chain, is that we put together, and thanks to you, Ari Bank, this little video that that launches this thing here that started back in May. And again, this is our start of way we want to change the industry. Because at the end of the day, our focus at TS Design is build domestic, transparent, and equitable apparel supply chain. We need everybody at the table, not just the brands. And the other thing that we're going to do along this journey, which starts today, this is our first, and thank you for, I'm sure there's going to be some bumps along the way, we'll learn. But over the next couple months and into the spring, is we're going to stop by all the people that make this happen. Today, we're going to spend time with Andrew. In December, we're going to be Wes, who's downstairs at the gym, spend some time with him. So you get to know the people behind the supply chain. So we're going to start with the cotton and we'll take it through. And then sometime April, May next year, we're going to take that 10,000 pounds and produce 15,000 plus or minus t-shirts that are, again, completely done dirt to shirt in the Carolinas in a completely transparent and equitable supply chain. So again, I want to kind of introduce our supply chain that we have here today. I think everybody is online. Again, to my left here is Andrew Burleson, third generation of Burleson and Son cotton farm. Downstairs is Wes Morgan, who gins that great cotton. Then we have Jennifer and Alex from Contempora, which basically spins that. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I got back up. Andy Long. Andy, hope he's on there. I forgot Andy. The most important thing, Andy. We got to take that.
I'm here.
And thank you, Andy. We'll get you. It'll be in order in a second. So I'm trying to go by memory, not reading my script there. But Andy basically will take that cotton and spin it to yarn. Then it goes to Contempora. We have Alex and Jennifer from Contempora there. Then it jumps over to Stacy at Carolina Cotton Works. I don't know if Stacy's on yet, but he's supposed to be on. Maybe jump in a few minutes.
It's Brittany.
To finish that fabric. And then it goes over to Opportunity Threads in Morganton. I saw Walter earlier does the cut and sew and then comes back to TS Designs. So today we're going to go introduce everybody, but this is Andrew's day because it starts with the cotton farmer. And then, as it says, months to come. And again, thank you, Amy and Courtney, for such a great job of organizing this. And then she'll be sending out, again, invitations for the months to come as we really go deep in this supply chain, because we have such a unique, valuable asset that what we can do in the Carolinas, which I like to say, we can go dirt to shirt. And so we want to really make those people that make it happen possible. Because one of the things I've learned from COVID is prior to COVID, apparel brands basically did two things. They're either chasing a price to basically go in a big box store, or they're chasing an illusion of a lifestyle. We want to create a brand that's built upon the people that produce the product. And so we can do that in the Carolinas. So without further ado, I want to kick it over here to Andrew. Again, Andrew, we kind of got midstream. Hopefully might have a cameo appearance by his dad, Ronnie. Probably I read Ronnie, good gosh, I'd say 15 years ago. And it's great. And that's the thing about domestic manufacturing, you get to know the people that make your products. So, I mean, I consider these people like family. They probably think I am family because I'm show up and don't go away. I'm coming like down here every weekend. But again, I'm going to kick it over to Andrew to say a few things. We're going to run back through the rest of the supply chain, give them a chance to introduce themselves, put names and faces. And then I think the main questions we're looking for today is for Andrew that Amy and I will, fill those things. So Andrew, take it away.
Thank you, Eric. As he said, my name's Andrew Burleson. Eric keeps saying he's going to make me a rock star. I'm not sure I want to accept that, but it's good to meet all of you all, even though it's socially distanced and across the internet, but good to be with you. I'm excited to see where this goes. But just to tell you a few things about myself, I'm part of a family farm. My grandparents started the farm just down the road. So I'm third generation. Currently farm with my father, my uncle, and my cousin, and then our family. So there's really 4 households that we farm together. So we raise cotton, we raise some other row crops, corn, soybeans, wheat. But as Eric said, we'll see a little video or whatnot, but I started farming. People ask me, when did you start farming? Well, I graduated from NC State with a degree in agriculture in 1999, but I started farming when I could walk. I remember fondest memories of I would get off the school bus at the farm where my grandparents lived, and you know, it was always, where's Dad? I want to go hop in the tractor. So I farmed all my life. I always wanted to do that. Accepting the challenges and the risks, but it's so rewarding, and I can't imagine doing anything else. But I appreciate being asked to be a part of this opportunity. It's exciting to see where it goes. And yeah, my wife and I, we have 3 children. I have a teenage daughter with a driver's license, so that's a new fear and worry that we have. I have 2 sons, so one's taking driver's ed as we speak, and the youngest one is 10, so 16, 14, 10, 3 children. So yeah, I'm hoping to leave an opportunity that if they choose to farm one day, you know, they'll have that opportunity. So we live amongst the fields that we raise our crops on. We're here. We're in the middle of it. I always know that there's more to learn. I always know that there's new things that are coming along, technologies, new things to try. So yeah, always looking to the future, and I'm just excited to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. And as it says, you got especially dressed up for us today, because usually when I come to meet Andrew, you meet him in the field. And this is not his current attire, but I think Amy gave him some coaching last night. So
Yes, yep.
Look, but again, one thing, and again, before I hand it off to Wes, one thing I will say about the Burlesons is, again, started with Ronnie when I met 50 years ago, is they're always interested in how to engage and learn and be a part of something. So again, I consider this like our extended family at TS Designs, and it's just been an honor and a privilege to know the Burlesons and again, bring them into this supply chain. And they have just been a phenomenal supporter of TS Designs and what we've done, and now the 10,000 pound project. So next I'm gonna kick it off to Wes, if he's still downstairs, and introduce himself. He'll be our star next month. So I've already told him we're gonna learn a lot from this, and I'll be back down here sometime in December. But Wes, you still online?
Yes, sir. I'm Wes Morgan, manager here at Rolling Hills Gym. Like I said, I'm downstairs, and Eric and Andrew are upstairs. I'm actually Andrew's cousin. They're actually on part of the gin. It's a family-owned ginning operation. Started in 1996, so this will be our 25th year. So just kind of excited to be a part of the project. Appreciate being involved. Hopefully you'll get to see some things. I'm not sure if the introduction video has anything about the ginning, but I'm sure soon we'll get all that in there so you can kind of see. But we're kind of the next step of the process. Cotton is kind of a unique crop. When Andrew harvests it, there's actually a lot of pieces in there. Cotton is, of course, the main product, but cotton actually grows off of seeds, kind of like growing hair. So our purpose here at the gin, the main thing of a cotton gin, is to separate seed from fiber. So that's basically what we do. We actually started yesterday. Today's the 10th. We actually started ginning November the 9th, which is the latest season ever in 25 years. We were devastated this year, not really as much by COVID, but as of about 12 to 16 inches of rainfall in May that devastated a lot of our crop. So we're going to be about 25 or 30% of a normal year this year. Like I say, most of that was really due just to weather-related things around the time of planting. So we'll kind of give you an overview of how all that works here next month, I reckon. But basically, that's where we kind of fall in the supply chain. We separate the seed from fiber, put it into 500-pound bales after it's cleaned and dried. So that kind of gives it a shelf life to be able to make it onto the mill and get it in a small enough package that you can load onto a tractor trailer to get to the next part of the supply chain. So is that kind of what you were looking for, Eric? Or?
That's great, Wes. And as was said, we're going to be back in here in December. And one thing I will say about Rolling Hills Gin and Wes, probably one of the most technologically advanced gins in the world. And Wes is a very sophisticated tinkerer. And again, knowing him this whole period of time too, every time I come down, he's got some new technology. And the latest thing I think started last year is bringing on 3D printers. And actually he's building his own parts here for his gin. So hopefully what we'll do between now and the Zoom meetings in December, we'll go grab some quick video clips that we can show, but it's just a phenomenal operation. And again, it adds to the assets of this great cotton that Andrew. So again, thank you, Wes, and we'll be looping back to you next month. So Andy Long, you out there?
Yes, had to unmute.
Okay, Andy Long. I've known Andy probably 100 years too. Show my age today, but Andy, we've been in the industry a long time, but now it's Parkdale Mills, and they have a smaller spinning operation called Spun Lab. And we've been working with Andy throughout, again, the last probably 12 plus years of spinning our yarn. So Andy, a little background of what happens at Spun Lab and you, and then I said, well, you'll be next to see probably sometime in January.
Right. Well, as Eric says, Spun Lab is the specialty division of Parkdale. We can handle much smaller quantities and laydowns than we can in our commodity mills. So we are going to be producing this 10,000 pounds in our Spun Lab division in Graniteville, South Carolina. We look forward to being a part of this and welcome any questions or comments.
Thank you, Andy. And now we got the tag team of Jennifer and Alex from Contempra down there in Lumberton, North Carolina. I don't know who's going to take the lead here, and a little background. Tim, we'll probably be seeing you again, probably things stay on track sometime in February.
We'd welcome your visit, Eric. Jennifer asked me to do a little bit of background, so I'll jump in here. Contempra Fabrics is a circular knit manufacturer based in Lumberton, North Carolina. We've been in business since 1972, and of course, we're always excited to support local manufacturers, our local farmers. My parents' farm actually is planted in cotton, and it's in Stanley County, so it's in the outside of Oakboro. So I'm not sure if any of their fiber ends up in the gin here or not. But as far as Contempra, we're a little bit unique. We are an ESOP, so we're all in favor of having our employees as part of the company. They're stockholders, and it gives them a vested interest in what we do. And so anytime we can do something with the local community or with manufacturers here in North Carolina and South Carolina, it's exciting to us. That's a little bit of background about us. Love to have you visit when and if the virus allows it.
Thank you, Alex. I think it was it Brittany from CCW that's online?
Yes, it's Brittany Beam. Stacy's not able to join us today, but I work for Stacy at Carolina Cotton Works, and we're a family-owned textile manufacturing company that started in 1995. We dye and finish the fabric, so we're happy to be a part of this process as well. So after Contempra knits it, it goes to us, and we will dye and finish it.
Thank you, Brittany. Brittany, Carolina Cotton Works, so you know, they're located in Gaffney, South Carolina. So now we're going to move to Walter in Morganton, North Carolina, who is the production manager, I believe your correct title, Walter, for Opportunity Threads. So take it away, Walter.
Hi, everyone. So we're working on sewing factory located in Morganton. So currently we have 62 employees, including members. So it's just, we have a unique model that every employee can become an owner after a certain time, and we're just so excited to be part of this. And then I welcome any questions if you have any questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Walter. Now I think, Amy, what we're going to do is we're going to show this little video that we put together along with the help of URI Bank, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, this is where I've got to make sure I get all the right buttons here, so bear with me a second here. We're going to share this. I've done it. A quick introduction before I show you this little 6-minute video we did. This started back in May of this year. And, when COVID hit, I just want to check and see how the Burlesons were doing. And then I was also noticing what the global market for cotton was. And actually dipped down to around 50 cents a pound, which I think Andrew will say in a minute, that's below his cost. And it really motivated us to have this conversation, to meet the farmer in the field, because I never forget on that Sunday, I think when we shot this, that Andrew said so many times, I hope for good weather, I hope for a better price, I hope. And I'm like, this is the person that has the most investment, the most time, and he has a business plan built on hope. We've got to do better. So again, we work with a little video company out of Graham, North Carolina, put this together. We'll play this, and then we'll kick it over to Andrew for some questions. So hopefully technology holds up. Here we go.
Cotton as a crop compared to the other crops that we grow is certainly more of a challenge. It takes quite a bit more management. It's a more forgiving crop. So for us in this part of the world, it seems like year in, year out, it's a little more resilient. The yields will go up and down, but it's a little more stable for us. So it's been a good mix to have here on the family farm. It's very satisfying to see the crop maturing as you want it to, but you try not to count your chickens before they hatch, so to speak, because we always know that we're beholden to what Mother Nature throws at it. And we can have the best looking crop that we've ever grown, but until it's harvested, we can't recoup any of those costs. There's always cautious optimism where we're trying to do all we can do, knowing that Mother Nature has to play her part as well. Specifically today, with the weather challenges we're facing and the markets and the health pandemic and all the other things, I'll certainly say it's challenging. It's certainly something that has very little certainty. Now, there are days where I scratch my head and say, why did I choose this profession? But most days, it's rewarding. And you just try to lean on experience and the wisdom of those around you and say, you know, tomorrow will be a better day, and I'm gonna do the best I can do today and move forward one step at a time.
1978, when I was at NC State, I started a t-shirt business called Creative Screen Designs. And back in those days, business was a lot easier. It was just solely about printing t-shirts to make a few bucks. I later met my business partner, Tom Sineath. That's where TS Designs got started. And we grew to what they call a large contract screen printer. And then in 1994, when we had over 100 people working at TS Designs, the banks loved us, we were profitable, we were growing, we paid a living wage, we paid benefits, everything was perfect. But in January 1, 1994, NAFTA was ratified, the North American Free Trade Agreement. Within 2 years, we had to lay off 80 employees of our 100. The textile industry collapsed. Businesses went out, thousands of people lost their jobs. But I realized then there's more to a business than a bottom line. So our focus became on providing the highest quality, most sustainable printed apparel. And then that led us into the brand Cotton the Carolinas, because we're creating this great, environmentally friendly, people-focused print technology, but we're printing on a shirt made overseas. That doesn't make any sense, because we grow great cotton in North Carolina. We need to build apparel supply chains that are built around the people that make the product. So you as a consumer can connect with those people, understand those people, and start valuing your apparel as an investment in your community and not a price on a rack. So how long have you been a full-time farmer now?
So I graduated May of 1999.
What determines what you get paid for your cotton and when that happens?
Our crop is being marketed through a cooperative, a marketing cooperative. So they're marketing that crop over an entire season. So we're hopeful that they sell a little bit all along and get us an average price. They're not going to hit the top, but we're hopeful that they don't hit the bottom either. I won't know what I got paid for 2019's crop until September of 2020 will be the last payment.
And that's what we got to change, is you're putting the investment, your time, your assets into planting this crop. When you're successful, what does success look like? You need to know that before the seed goes in the ground. I think cotton actually got down below 50 cents a pound at one time.
It was right around there, yes.
And then now it's in the mid-50s.
I think so.
We live in a global economy, and we're not going to put that genie back in the bottle. But what we can do is build more resilient local communities. And again, you grow great cotton. So let's keep that great cotton right here and not
scattered all over the world.
The global supply chain, the global market, that's not going to go away.
No,
You're right.
no.
But to have options,
Right.
to say, you know what, I can choose to buy something to support local. I can choose to see jobs come back to the area. You know, that's exciting.
I just want to make an offer to buy 10,000 pounds of your cotton, and today is May 25th,
Okay.
and you just planted that cotton last week, and when you harvest it sometime in October, I will pay you 75 cents a pound for that cotton. Is that an agreeable price for you?
That is agreeable. Yes.
Okay.
Look forward to doing it.
Yeah, this is how we want to see cotton business done.
Farmers are the backbone of North Carolina. We have to change the way we engage with our farmers. We have to build a more resilient economy that's more equitable, more connected, and definitely in this case can be more local. And we need you to be a part of this journey to change this system.
I'm not sure what my life, family or otherwise, would look like without farming. But I always come back to, you know, I don't know that there's anything else I would love any better, you know. And every now and again I'll get to wander and dream about those big picture 10 years down the road things. You know, I know my dad talks about how it's changed so much just in his lifetime. What's going to interest the next generation? What's going to interest my kid? I enjoy those moments where I get to dream and think about, will they still be farming the way we farm today?
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Amy. And before you kick it off to questions, I guess an update from that. Again, thank you so much for being a part of this journey. We can do it here, but I'd like to go back to Andrew, is because, again, we started shooting this video in May of this year, and a lot's happened, and he's just harvesting the cotton. We were down here Courtney and I last Saturday to see him harvest it. But I want to ask Andrew, just tell us what happened with cotton this year from your perspective.
So not talking about market price and all of that, but this year was a unique year. From a weather standpoint, we lost the majority of our cotton crop. That farm that you saw the video taken, that was all, it all drowned. We planted 2,100 acres of cotton, our family did, and we are going to harvest 322. That's all that survived. And that's, you know, Wes talked about how the gin won't have nearly as much to gin this year. So this year's been a challenge. Every year has its, you know, own challenges, but this one has been one for the record books, and hopefully one we don't see again. So we're looking forward to next year. It just so happened that last year we came off one of our best yielding years ever, and it was time to make some updates, and we traded our harvesting machines for new ones back last fall, and they showed up this summer, and unfortunately I don't need them, but I've got them. So one of them's mothballed in a shed, still got to make the payments on it, but anyway, so this year's been difficult to say the least.
So on that, the harvester machine, you have a unique piece of John Deere equipment, and I think we talked about you actually ordered 2 of those things, and I think they're almost like $1 million a piece is what this piece of equipment is. So imagine having a business where you're making this investment, and then the weather takes out 70% of your crop. It's got to be challenging. But again, I want to go back to one other thing that Andrew talked, because I was here last year and had one of the highest yields, highest quality cotton in a very long time. But you have no say so on the price that cotton goes for.
No.
So, I mean, that goes back to our broken commodity agriculture system. Is they're doing this great work here, but they have zero say so in the price in which they're paid. So that's the whole purpose of the 10,000 pound project is give them that voice, opportunity to change. Because I know Victor from Raleigh Denham is on the call today, and thanks Victor for joining us. And you know, it makes great jeans. Matter of fact, I got a pair of jeans on the day that are probably, again, 15 years old too. but we've got to, we can do all this in North Carolina, which is so great about this. We have it all here. We don't have to go anywhere else. So, but anyway, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to let Amy kind of facilitate the questions. And again, thank y'all so much for being part of this. And I have some closing remarks to do, but I want to make sure we have plenty of time for Q&A.
Thanks, Eric. Yeah, I've from talking with Andrew too, I thought it was so interesting. 2 different phone calls that we've been on about the land that Andrew's leasing, and thanks to people wanting to now move out of cities because of the pandemic, people want people who own the land that he's been farming on are telling him it's his last harvest because they need to sell the land to build God knows what type of monstrosity on top of it instead of having food or fiber being grown on it, which is a whole other rabbit hole, I think. So I just want to kind of dive into some questions. And then if you guys have, like Devin just asked a question, which I'll get to, if you have questions, just throw it in chat. But Catherine had asked, this is clearly a bold experiment for solid state. I think this is for you, Eric, actually. This is clearly a bold experiment for solid state to base itself on the bet that it will be able to sell these shirts. Has anything like this been done before?
Well, I mean, we did Cotton to Carolinas, probably 12 years ago. The big difference with this Cotton to Carolinas is we didn't really get involved with the process until, the cotton was ginned and then Andy would approve it for spinning. We weren't really that aware of what's happening in the marketplace. And so, but what we have realized, and it's some investigation with COVID, it's becoming more volatile. So it's a challenge. I mean, we're going up against an industry that it's focused on one thing, the cheapest price. That's why I said earlier, 98% of the clothes we buy today is made overseas. They do that because mainly they're chasing cheap labor, but they're also chasing cheap fiber. I mean, we actually get, believe it or not, and again, Victor will probably be great. There's probably some other apparel brands too. We import cotton to this country. We import yarn in this country because somebody's chasing that other penny or nickel or dime or whatever it is. So it's, I like to say change starts with being aware. And hopefully what we're doing with this 10,000 project is making people aware, because next thing is once you become aware and you have the ability to change, but you do not change, now you become part of the problem. So we want to start with making people aware. We want to give people the benefit that maybe they didn't know. Maybe they didn't know what's going on with commodity agriculture. Maybe we didn't know 40% of farm revenue last year was generated from subsidies. The farmer wants to grow a product and make money for that product and not be subsidized by, the government. But we have to first get out there, educate, and then we need hopefully some people in this call be a part of our 10,000 pound project. Because what Amy alluded to a little bit, and I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, we're already talking about the 100,000 pound project that'll launch in January, because that's what we said earlier. We want to meet the farmer in the field before the seed goes in the ground. So we will be talking to people between now and January so we can make a bigger commitment to Andrew, because 10,000 pounds is just a drop in the bucket. So we want to bring other farmers and other brands, again, to transparent and domestic natural fibers here in the U.S. So it is a challenge, but you got to start somewhere. You got to say, this doesn't work, and we've got to go a different direction. So we need your help to do that.
Thanks, Eric. Andrew, question for you. So another question, I think it was from Catherine, also wondering about the farmers selling the cotton at a premium. Who would they normally sell to if not Solid State?
So we normally don't know the end user. Our cotton is sold, again, through a marketing cooperative, but if it's not, I may talk to Wes, and Wes may have a contact, and it's still a merchant, and they're going to aggregate an awful lot of cotton, and I really won't know the end user. I won't know where it goes.
But essentially what you're saying, Andrew, is the marketplace or these brokers looking at the quality of your cotton, pay a price for that, but then it could be a t-shirt in North Carolina, but it could be a pair of socks in China. And that's the nice thing that I've really enjoyed, and hopefully we'll maybe get that cameo appearance from Andrew's father, Ronnie, is just when we start talking about Cotton Carolinas, again, just the excitement in his eyes, be able to say, knowing your cotton went all the way by these people and made this, and you see it from start to finish, or we like to say dirt to shirt. I mean, that to me is just the value of that, and the relationships you build of that. So again, and that's just true with the cotton industry in general. I mean, it goes out to this marketplace, and that marketplace, again, we live in a global market. That's not going to go away, but you have no idea where your cotton's going to end up.
Eric, Andrew, you're really getting off the hook on this one. Like all the questions, I was like, people are going to be asking you a million questions. Yeah.
Perfect.
Another question for you, but Andrew, I definitely know you've got one coming up. Eric, tell us about, Devin's asking, please tell us about the apparel that will be produced and sold in the spring. Will it be sold online via the website? And what is planned to raise consumer awareness around not only the project, but how and where they can buy the apparel? And will the apparel be t-shirts along with other items?
Thank you, Devin. Thank you so much. You're kind of the voice of our domestic textile industry here, and the biggest Wolfpack fan I know of. And so thanks so much. But twofold. First of all, the 10,000 pound, that's going into Solid State TS Designs. And, you know, this is built on the old Cotton of Carolinas project. We're going to internalize this for product that will come out as t-shirts in the spring of next year. There's essentially three ways to participate. First of all, the first one is actually, and Courtney came on name, you're not buying a t-shirt, you're buying a share. You're being a part of this journey, because what we said earlier, we're going to go by as this cotton that was harvested in Andrew's field on Saturday, as it moves through the supply chain, we're going to take you through a supply chain and put these key suppliers in this seat that's Andrew in to talk more about what they do and why it's important. So it's going to be a t-shirt. There's two other ways to participate. We went back to our Cotton of Carolinas customers, and the two examples I like to use is Nancy Gatobi down at Star Works, which here also in Stanley County, and she uses a couple hundred t-shirts a year. So that'll kick back over to TS Designs, and we'll use our Rehance print and dye process to basically produce a couple hundred shirts for their. They've got a cafe and a bar down there. And then we other one, you know, for a higher volume, say at 1,000 units, it's we got people like Weaver Street Market that will private label that, so it'll be Weaver Street Market in the back of the shirt, part of the 10,000 pound project. So we feel comfortable with, between Solid State and TS Designs, that 10,000 pounds will get exhausted by the spring of next year's t-shirt. The key thing, we need this to be successful as soon as possible. So we launch 100,000 pounds. 100,000 pounds will be two things different. We're going to bring other farmers to the table. We're going to bring other farmers to the table that have different geographical representation or different representation in the field. We're going to be working with Kelly Pepper and the Texas Organic Cooperative, who's already made a commitment to produce some yarn for that. We might actually have some hemp in that. So we'll end up with a blended yarn. Again, this is seed that goes in the ground spring of 2021. So this will be yarn that will be produced the fall of 2021. And then what we'll do is we'll reach out, you know, I would love to see 100,000 pounds become 200,000 pounds. There's no problem with supply. We've got to make the demand. So what we can do is then the yarn that like Victor needs to make his jeans is different than make t-shirts. So what we can do is, this is tracking through, we can work with Andy at Spun Lab, which if we that kind of volume will be at one of his big facilities at Parkdale. And then we can produce a yarn that Victor can use in his jeans and we can use in t-shirts. So the two big differences are, we will represent more farmers, bringing different fibers across the country. And then with that kind of volume, we'll be able to produce different yarns. So when you get into the spring of 2022, one thing that gets people thinking to the future, not just I need it right now. So spring of 2022, this is, I hope, and I need your help to be everything from t-shirts to jeans. So help us get the 10,000 pounds locked up in the bank as soon as possible, and then we can get working on this 100,000 pound project in January. And did Amy help me? Did I answer all Devin's questions?
Yeah, and I think for the marketing piece, you know, some of the things that we're talking about doing are, like you've already mentioned, Eric, that we're going to have these kind of monthly Zoom calls. Anybody can get on and just be part of the conversation with Wes, or we're also going to be looking at tackling different conversations. Some of the things that we're already seeing on the Solid State social media where, people are saying the cost of that t-shirt is way more than I'm paying at Old Navy for a $7 t-shirt. That's really what somebody said the other day. And so how do you get that person to see the value of that, the cost of that t-shirt and the value of this supply chain, and to start rewiring their brains? And hopefully by bringing the supply chain to people to be part of that conversation, they can start to understand it more. I mean, that's the dream. I mean, been doing this for a long time, and there's lots of different ways. Zoom has been pretty incredible for bringing people together to just kind of take on these topics too. But so yeah, you did cover them all.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you.
Thanks, Devin.
So Dana from Mara Hoffman's asking, is there a way to make the supply chain circular and take back the product to respin? And I know, isn't Material Return doing that, like Carolina Textile District?
John, jump on that one. That's all you.
Yeah. Yeah. How's it going, everybody? My name is John Long. I work with the Carolina Textile District, and one of our pride and joys is Material Return. Bobby couldn't be on the meeting today, so I'll speak for him. But essentially, Eric in TS Designs is already involved in this project, where they send scrap off to Material Return to be shredded. Right now, we're doing that off-site at a place called Lee Fibers. And then that product is going to be eventually turned back into a sliver, which then can be turned into a yarn. And we're really excited because with Material Return, we're currently moving to a new facility where we can actually do a lot of that in-house. So Material Return, again, is one way to create that connection of a circular economy. I really feel like eventually the dream would be to collect the shirts after they've been worn and then have them tell their own story, but then also process them back into new material. So I hope that answers the question.
I want to add two things, John. First of all, you're exactly right. We're going to be recycling, but also Walter at Opportunity Threads, when they cut and sew, that fabric waste that hits the floor will also be part of this process. And also, one thing I wanted to point out too, that will be introduced with this 10,000 pounds. We have a new tracking system. We have developed a unique QR code that will go on each shirt. And so when, as you know, with smartphones these days, you bring up your phone, you open up your camera, you snap that QR code, and it will bring this supply chain to you. And what I like to say, when we bring the supply chain to you, we give you a point of contact. You will get Andrew's picture, you get his phone number, you get his physical address, you get his email, you get to see everybody in our supply chain. Again, I don't know anybody in the industry that is not only, we're doing this dirt to shirt in about 500 miles. So, I mean, the typical t-shirt's about 13,000 miles. So not only super compressed, but we believe part of this whole vague term people overuse, they call it sustainability, things like that. The most important thing that is transparency. I'm not saying we're perfect. I'm not saying there's room for improvement, but there never, ever will be any question who was behind who made that t-shirt or that product. So we're excited about, it's called solidstate.guide. The website's out there. You can click on a little demo. It'll take you to it. And you can actually see how this QR, so we developed about a year ago. It's mobile focused. Everybody knows going to mobile. Again, this is our platform as we move from the 10,000 pound project, 100,000 pound project. It'll allow us to bring in those Kelly Peppers at Texas Organic Cooperative or Sally Fox out there in California. And again, we want to bring those suppliers to the table. They're so important. So that's another little benefit that wasn't available when we did Cotton in the Carolinas. So thank you, John.
So Alden is asking, how does that compare to, oh, just disappeared. How does that compare to the price premium for organic cotton? I guess what we're doing. Alden, is that what you're saying? How does the cotton that we're using for Solid State compare?
Yeah, I was asking how that price premium paid to the farmer works its way through to the end t-shirt. What kind of price premium you see on a t-shirt? And I know that varies by the numbers manufactured, and then how that compares to organic cotton. Because I imagine North Carolina or American consumers might even find it more compelling than organic cotton.
I will take a stab at it. I'm sure Andrew's got some input on this too, because again, TS Designs, we buy, other sources of cotton. We buy the Texas Organic Cooperative cotton. I want to say that's, and Andy might be able to help me with this. So Andy, if you're still there, I want to say it's, $1.40, $1.50 a pound.
Correct.
And Andrew, I think we're doing 75 cents. But then when you get into this organic cotton that's coming from developing countries, it's considerably cheaper. And, we try to avoid that because, again, I get a certificate that says organic cotton, but unlike Andrew and unlike Kelly, I have no, I'm probably not going to go to these places that are growing this cotton. I have no idea what the labor conditions are. I have no idea if it's really organic cotton because they've proven at the point that it gets to us, there's no way to determine organic from non-organic. So I think the key difference that we're going to do here, it's not as much about the price. We're letting the farmer determine what the price is. Andrew was the one that decided 75 cents was a fair price. I didn't go to Andrew and says, I need this price or I'm not going to buy your cotton. The same thing with Kelly Pepper. We let the farmer, it's the way business should work. It says, I don't want to dictate a price to Andrew. And we want to create enough value so Andrew doesn't dictate. It's this negotiation which the farmer has lost. And that's the whole purpose of the 10,000 pounds, 100 is bring the farmer back to the table so they can have a voice in what that price is. But even, I guess one thing, I'll kick over to Andrew, when we're talking about this 25 cents, I'm talking about, let's say cotton's 50 cents now, and we're going to pay him 75 cents. In the scheme of things, when this gets down to the shirts, we're talking 20 cents. I mean, it's minuscule where, in the overall thing. So, but that, we at the end say, well, 20, that's not, but this guy here, and he's doing, on a good year, that 25 cents over 3,000 acres probably would make a big difference in what your year would look like. So any more you want to talk about prices and how it varies or anything like that? Comment?
No, not specifically. Again, you really don't know selling through the cooperative where that price is going to be. And like you said, there's some certainty there.
Right.
There's some, we don't know what weather's going to bring and all that, but we can at least go into it knowing, all right, at least on this amount of our production,
right,
we should be able to survive another year. That's the goal.
Yeah.
And try to improve along the way.
Thanks, guys. Marcia is asking, how are you measuring environmental and the social impact of this project? I feel there is a social benefit to this, that if it could be measured, it could be a great opportunity to show a value proposition that is often missed.
I will jump into that. I think what I've learned in my 40 years of business, and really we made that big turn with NAFTA in '94, is transparency. Again, I'm not saying we at TS Designs, and I'm sure Andrew, or anybody supply chain, there's always room for improvement. But I think it starts with transparency, to put yourself out there, because that's how you learn and you move forward. Technology changes. We at TS Designs, it's interesting, all these different, the worker-owned cooperative at Opportunity Threads, the ESOP at Contempra, TS Designs is certified B Corp. We always bring some other things, that we use internally to move us along that path of being a more sustainable company. But I think by doing it domestically and doing it transparently and bringing everybody together, that's always exciting with Cotton Carolinas is, Andrew rarely ever would have an opportunity to meet with the rest of the supply chain. His main focus is maximize his yield in the field, and the marketplace determines the price, and then Parkdale buys his cotton, and then it moves on away to, it might end up at Contempra, it might end up, who knows where it ends up. So you know, measurement's always been a tough thing. You know, there's a lot of tools out there. I was sharing an article with just Courtney and Amy yesterday. I make a real deep dive to go back and look at it. You know, there's kind of a turnoff's not the right word, but this whole you know, this certification, people want to stamp. You know, they want to stamp to say it's this or it's that or it's this or it's that. And I've always been reluctant to stamps or some certifications, because I mean, it's just, by making yourself transparent, that is by far the most way to check somebody. Because I mean, you know, Andrew could just be some actor we brought in and paid him, you know, $100 to sit here and smile for a few hours and go away, and you come back and see Andrew and it's a PO box.
Really good extra, Eric.
But just make it, you know, everybody's, and that's the whole reason we want to take you along a journey, meet all these people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, some of the conversations that we've had about this too, Eric, is, you know, by having a completely open supply chain, you can ask people questions. You can, you know, if for us, you know, it becomes one thing more than another in terms of what the sustainability measurement will be, then we'll go in that path. But right now it's, can you even create a regional supply chain in the United States that's open, that's paying people fairly, that wants to improve their environmental, you know, what they're doing environmentally. It's this kind of, it's an opportunity to start with everybody and meet them, as you always say, Eric, meet them where they're at, meet the farmer where they're at, meet whoever they, you know, where they're at. But, you know, I know that there are brands that have turned their backs on farmers, a lot of the farmers in our country, because they're not doing regenerative, they're not doing organic. And, you know, people like Rebecca Burgess at Fiber Shed are saying, you know, I'm not turning my back, I'm going to work with these people. I know Eileen Fisher has done that with, Josie Alvarez, I think that's in New Mexico. But there are people who are taking chances on supply chains and saying, I'm going to meet you where you're at. Let's work together. Let's develop this together. But I think the first part is, who do we even have these supply chains? And we have proof here that there is an actual supply chain that can go from, you know, dirt to shirt, as you always say, Eric. But I want to ask, there's a question from.
I want to add one more comment while you're looking up that. Is think about any other product or service that you use. Anything. It can be a cup of coffee, it can be a pair of shoes, it can be, hopefully not McDonald's hamburger, anything, but think about anything and compare to what we're doing here. There's no other product or service that offers the transparency we do. This is so powerful what we're putting together here, that this is how we build a more resilient future, by basically, we're putting ourselves out there. I mean, I'm pretty much, I like to tell people, you've got this whole supply chain. If you've got enough money, you can be in the t-shirt business tomorrow. I just told you, here are all the people. Go see them.
Yeah.
But we feel there's so much more to gain by putting ourselves out there, by saying just, you know, it's back there somewhere and here it is, isn't it great, or doesn't it taste good, or whatever. Don't ask those questions, we got in trouble. That's what continues to get us into problems. That's why we have 98% close there, because the consumer wasn't aware and didn't ask questions until we had the situation in Bangladesh 5 or 6 years ago where 1,000 people died. We can stop that and prevent that and go a different direction by doing what we're doing here. So demand transparency with everything you do in life, and that will change the world we live in. So now, sorry.
Oh, that's good. Let's see, Dana is asking, let's see, sorry if this was asked. Okay, let's see. Are there plans to transition to regenerative? Are there options to use this cotton in other items than t-shirts? We've kind of talked about both of those a bit, Dana. I feel like with, you know, right now we're starting with, Andrew, correct me if I'm wrong. Right now you do a lot with no-till is what you're currently doing with your cotton crops?
Correct. We're all no-till production, trying to use cover crops. We've experimented with some different things with cover crops, and that's where I think we're still learning. We're still doing research. The university, NC State, is doing a lot of research. We funded the cotton producers. The producer organization, North Carolina Cotton Producers Association, has funded some research and continues to fund research. So we're always learning. We certainly don't feel like we know it all, but we're trying to continually improve in that regard. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Sarah, Sarah just messaged, do you want to say something? You're going to talk about this project and the roadmap.
Sure. Thanks, Amy. I don't want to take away from any of the main folks in the supply chain, but I just want to add a quick high-level perspective, not a question really. My name is Sarah Kelly, and I just had the chance to work with Amy, who I've been able to work with for quite some time, and with Eric, same, and another team to release a new report that's aimed at funders and investors about the U.S. sustainable fiber and textile sort of growing field and all the innovative work that's happening around the country. And we're really excited and proud to be able to feature TS Designs and Solid State as one of 12 case studies around the country for that. And I just also was in the Textile Exchange Conference this past week, which is a global brand conference. And there's so much emphasis on soils and agriculture, the sudden realization that soils and agriculture are at the base of the textile supply chain for natural fibers. So just, with the details and the nitty gritty of putting the supply chain back together are the core of this project, but just to emphasize that this is really, really innovative work in both a national and international context. And the idea that if we want to have soils and agriculture and fibers be part of a climate solution, we need to have people who are stewards of the soil being recognized and being paid for what they do. So just want to appreciate those components of the project. And thanks for the chance to listen in today.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, I'll send you guys all a link to Sarah's roadmap. It's really great. It's comprehensive, eye-opening. It's really great.
For the sake of full transparency, can you supply to this group everybody that was on the call and their contacts and their titles?
Yep, I've got a list, and yep, I will get an email out with some of the links. I'm writing some things down that people are asking about. If you didn't see it in the chat, I will send it and email it. So we just hit 11 o'clock. I just want to make sure we have, Catherine just asked a question I think is important. Is there any third-party certification to verify that transparency that you're talking about, Eric?
No, there's no third-party verification. And not that I'm not open to that, but I question why you need that, because if we are with this QR code tracking system, we're going to give you all the information, we'll give you all the contacts. We believe the best certification is the consumer. If you put yourself out to the consumer, and again, if Ronnie was here and probably with Andrew, they'll tell you, people just show up at the farm. They says, I got this t-shirt here, and I says, it said it came from here. I want to see the farm. So I'm open to that. Again, I said we were the first certified B Corp in North Carolina. So part of who we are is our DNA. But right now we want to make solidstate.guide. That's kind of going to be our platform or our database of information. Right now it's very, the basic information. Eventually where I would like to see this is in addition to, we'll use Andrew as an example of all the contacts for Andrew to visit, but maybe go a little bit deeper. What kind of variety of cotton is he planting this year? Or an update throughout the year of maybe there's metrics that he has on water usage and things like that. So we want to make solidstate.guide this just database. When we get to TS Design, we'll talk about the dyes that we use. Eventually we do reactive dyes. Now it would be natural dyes. So at this point, we just want to make solidstate.guide a very deep database of information. And by opening it, I guess it's kind of the Wikipedia of the world. Sometimes Wikipedia does go off the trail, or somebody hijacks or whatever. But hopefully that won't happen to solidstate.guide. But just putting it out there, and then from that, I'm sure questions will come up, things that we didn't know at TS Designs, or maybe, and then maybe it'll pique our interest to look at something different. But Badger said there's we're basically moving full steam ahead, or putting our effort on solidstate.guide as our validation for our transparency.
Thanks, Eric. Well, I think that we are good. And thanks, Marcia, for the link to the Cotton Diaries. Marcia is great. We doesn't know it yet, but she's going to be one of our presenters for one of our months. I think it's great to have different perspectives for people who are consulting in the cotton world and Marcia has is the founder of the Cotton Diaries. And I think Alden, and I just met Marcia because of Alden. And I think Alden, did you not co-write that with Marcia?
Yeah, we worked together on the project for Transformers Foundation, which was great.
Okay, and I'll put that link in an email that I'll send out to you guys too. But thank you everybody for participating today and for listening to the story of this supply chain and asking the questions. Continue to ask questions. Continue to ask us questions, and also we'd love for you to check out solidstate.clothing. Right, Courtney? I always keep messing it up. I just automatically always do it. But yeah, solidstate.clothing. And you can see the 10,000 pounds of cotton project on there, and the solid state t-shirts that are up right now that this supply chain is currently making. And then the 10,000 pounds of cotton project, there's a pre-order. I think we have like 4 t-shirts, but we have to sell 2,000 t-shirts. So we look forward to having you all spread the word about what we're doing too. But thank you all so much. Eric, did you have anything you want to say? Any final note?
Thank you, Amy, for hosting this, Courtney, and then also we've got Rosalinda that's part of the marketing team too that's there. But thank you so much for being a part of this. This, I said, kicks off our first Zoom presentation of this journey of this Dirt to Shirt t-shirt, and we need your help. I like to say there's not one person that has all the answers, but hopefully taking the assets that we have in the Carolinas, we can make a very, very strong statement of dirt to shirt or dirt to jeans. We can do it here. So please, check out the 10,000 pound page on Solid State. Please share it. Please support it. First step is we got to educate people. We have not only a broken apparel system, we've got a broken agriculture system. And always the challenge with that is, yes, it's broken, but we are offering a solution to start building it back that's more resilient, that's more sustainable, that's more equitable. We need your help. So we can do this, and this will be a tremendous boom to the Carolinas. We're coming out of the devastation of COVID and what it's done to our economy. And we've lost friends that actually, Walter at Opportunity Threads, his customer service manager, dad passed away with COVID. This has touched all our lives. We have an opportunity to pave a different way post-COVID. We can go back to business as normal, which is chasing cheap apparel made around the world, but we can be a part of this journey that basically builds these local resilient economies. We need your help. But we're not perfect. I'm sure we're missing things. So we need your help to keep us on track. But again, thank you, Amy, Courtney, Rosalinda, and all of you for participating, especially you, Andrew, for dressing up today.
Andrew,
you are the man. So if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't even have a Zoom call today. So it starts with this guy here. So again, thank you, Andrew, so much for being a part of this.
Well, thank you for having me. Good to meet everybody.
All right.
We'll close this out, Amy.